Hello everybody and welcome back to another weekly recap. This week we got a massive dev blog for warding. On top of that, we did get a game update, a pretty small one to Clan Wars, and we also received the account security blog that we've been looking forward to for quite a while, which is going to highlight their plan for account security in the future. In today's update, we have a few changes to teleblock as well as the new Clan Wars interface, and like I said, another dev blog for warding, which I kid you not is 40 plus pages. It's huge. It's not really a concise dev blog, it's more of just notes. And as always, I'm going to go over anything related to the old school RuneScape community this week. Anyway guys, hope you enjoy and let's get started. Alright, first up here, let's start with the game update. We got a minor change to teleblock and we got the new extra Clan Wars options. There is now a new UI for Clan Wars. It'll have a few new options on it. There is leaving channel. This setting can be used to toggle whether a player leaving the clan chat are counted as deaths or not. Rejoining, an option for rejoining a clan chat during the game, which would include an unrestricted or 60-second limit. And there is a team cap option which would cap fights at 5v5, 10v10, 15v15, 20v20, 30v30, and uncapped. There's one minor change to teleblock, and now when you kill a player or NPC that had teleblocked you, it now removes the teleblock spell. So if a PKer uses teleblock on you, you have 4 minutes left on your timer, you kill them, it will automatically drop it for you. However, if you do successfully remove it, you will not be immune to another. The Summer Deadman Mode finals are underway and people are competing for the $32,000 in prize money. I believe this is going to be the last one for quite a while. They're going to be restructuring and changing Deadman Mode. If you like the current format, I would go ahead and watch this one because it may be the last Deadman Mode like it. A few minor changes here. Laron's keys will now always be lost on death, and they're also destroyed slowly if you attempt to destroy them to avoid getting PK'd. And now players trapped on free-to-play worlds near the top of the lava maze ladder can now escape. I guess that was important. And that's pretty much it for content updates this week. So in 2019, Jagex has promised that we are going to be getting more direct communication from the player support team. And on June 25th, we've received an account security blog. This is the second in the series of 4 blogs from the Jagex support team. So what do we have coming soon? We have email notifications and validations for account behavior changes, authenticator checks on the website, and investigating if we should implement authenticator delay. Well, that's better than nothing. Pretty much after poll results got hidden, or they are at least for now, the new big controversial point that most people are talking about is that there is no authenticator delay. Currently, if someone gets access to your account for whatever reason, either they had access to your authenticator, access to your email, or enough security information on you to manually reset your password, the authenticator can be disabled right away, which doesn't give you much time to fix the problem. However, with an authenticator delay, it would give the true owner of the account time to fix their account security and avoid losing all of their items. I really don't see a problem for implementing this unless it's technically very challenging for whatever reason. What they're working on now is strengthening passwords and breached passwords usage warnings, and in the future they want to add additional account security questions and increased account recovery security. So the first priority is better passwords. They are going to be updating their system to allow more complex passwords to be set. Currently your password is not case sensitive, so it doesn't matter if they're uppercase or lowercase letters. You can't use most special characters, and you can just use numbers and letters. So being able to set more complex passwords is really important. However, I think the main way that people are losing their account is from social engineering people's recovery questions, an unsecured email address and stuff like that. I don't think that many people are brute force guessing passwords. But who knows? The next thing they want to work on is email notifications. So whenever someone makes a change to your password, your account information, they will send you an email to confirm that you actually made the change. So they do eventually talk about two-factor authentication. One interesting fact that they mention is that we do already offer two-factor authentication and is currently only used by about 50% of active players. I honestly thought a lot more players would have that activated, and it's almost forced upon you in the beginning of the game. Anyway, if you don't have two-factor authentication, I would definitely recommend turning it on. One feature often requested by players is authenticator delays. There are several ways we could do this, such as delaying change requests or temporarily limiting trades. We haven't ruled anything out yet, but we are mindful that there's a big risk of players getting locked out of their accounts or enduring restrictions if their phones are lost in the interim. Honestly, I don't think that is that big of a concern. Like, if the delay is a couple days, okay, yes, you won't be able to play RuneScape for a few days, but I think that's much more preferable than having people potentially have access to your account. Now, a little further down, they talk about recovery abuse. One of the biggest challenges we face when reviewing accounts is identifying if the request has been submitted by the account owner Our focus for the next year is on stopping hijackers before they even get to the account. So in the end, I am extremely happy that we have a bit of information on what the plans are for account security in 2019, 2020, and I do really appreciate them taking the time to write up this blog and just to show what they're working on. I'm always up for more account security. As a content creator myself, I really want to have my accounts be as secure as possible. So anything else to help with that, I think is nothing but good. Anyway, let's move on now to the Warding v3 Google Doc. Now, I'm not going to go over most of this. I'm actually going to link to a video from Colonello. He actually did a full review of it, and his video dedicated just to this article took 30 minutes. So yeah, I'm not going to be putting this in a recap because even a recap of this is going to be ages. Few things off the top of my head from when I briefly read through it though. The new best in slot mage gear has actually been removed, so that is no longer going to be coming from Warding. Another major change is ring imbues. They would no longer get removed with this update. Any future ring imbues would require Warding, but for those who got it through Nightmare Zone, you would retain them. And no more battle wards. Of course, there is a ton of information there. I'm going to link to it. Now, I really do appreciate them being transparent with their design process, but this makes it kind of daunting. If someone actually wanted to read this, it's huge. But overall, it's good to have all the information there so people can make an informed decision, and I'm sure they'll make a more concise dev blog a bit later. Now, let's move on to a few updates related to the RuneScape community. First up here, another 141 Infernal Capes have been removed. I really like the little image he posted here of the cape disappearing in little pixelated triangles, bringing the total number of Infernal Capes removed up to 705. I'm just impressed they managed to identify, without a doubt, 705 people bought the capes. That seems kind of challenging to prove, but anyway, they did it. There is another player that is very close to getting maxed 200 mil in every skill, and that is Hey Jace. He's only 50 million experience from becoming the second ever player to do it, so he should be getting that in 2019, and honestly, the third place one might as well. So obviously, an early congratulations. That is an amazing achievement. The old school RuneScape wiki actually has its very first survey now, so if you really enjoy the new wiki, they are looking for some information on how they're doing, how often you visit the wiki, how would you rate the features. I'd really recommend going and filling out this survey, as the new wiki is awesome. The work they've done is so good. I didn't really realize how clunky the old wiki was until we got the new one. So they're doing some amazing work. And last up here, a Reddit user by the name of Reddit with Borders posted a really cool application they're working on, which is a fashion tool. So it pulls all the items from the OSRS wiki, and you can kind of choose fashionscape sets. You can organize by color. So if you wanted to choose kind of a green color, you'd hit green and then search. It'll show you items that naturally have that item chroma color on it, which I think is really, really cool. I'm not actually sure how they managed to get all that data information for colors in there, but it's so creative and cool. I would definitely go check out the website. It's called scape.fashion. Very useful for your up and coming fashionscape icons. And that's pretty much it for community news. No RuneLite update this week, unfortunately. And last up here, I wanted to go over the weekly Q&A. It was a pretty big one because they had the player support team on there. So anyway, what are your thoughts on sending in ID documents to link your account? They said it's possible, but there's two reasons why they're not doing it. For one, there's GDPR regulations, and second, if someone is sending in more information, how can you be sure that the person sending the information is the owner of the account? Well, I guess because their ID is correct? I don't know. How difficult is two-factor authentication to implement on the website? They said it shouldn't be too difficult. You mentioned email notifications for account behavior. Could this also be a push notification? They said it's a great idea and they want to look at that. Could you just make accounts unrecoverable? They can understand why players might want that, but they wouldn't want to lock anyone out of playing just for forgetting their password. Can you remove herb boxes from the Nightmare Zone shop now that the farming guild exists and it's bringing in a lot more herbs? They said whenever they can remove things from Nightmare Zone, they would like to. Perhaps moving it to the Tithe farm might make more sense. 76% of people voted yes in a straw poll. Can we see some combat spells on the Arceus spellbook? Currently it's just a prayer training method pretty much as a spellbook. They're not totally against the idea, but they need to find a niche that isn't too powerful. Maybe since it's an undead, it could be a more powerful version of Crumble Undead, but they want to make sure it's not better than Ancients. Could we increase the rewards for the Laron's chest? They like the idea of adding a unique to hunt. The way it's going right now, it's quite nice. Wilderness Slayer is good XP and points, but a unique would be kind of nice to have as well. Could we have a group activity for Hunter? Maybe 4 or 5 players take down a large beast. They said that sounds cool. They like doing that sort of thing that requires attention and teamwork, kind of like the Volcanic Mine. Could we get a new Earth Warrior room in the new dungeon? Currently they are assigned by Vanica, but they're only available in the wilderness, so you have to go there to kill them. They said it's something they wouldn't mind doing, however they may not be fitting for the 4th dungeon, we could put it somewhere else. Why was farming taken out of the warding design? We took feedback after the original blog and spent a week or two looking at it, and they just decided to release a lot of that from farming. Can we get scalable interfaces like chat boxes and inventory for 4K screens? Mod Ian started working on that a couple of years ago. With a game like Old School RuneScape, that would take a long time. We don't know when we're likely to get around to it, but they would like to do it. Can we get the Theater of Blood drop rates? Kieran said that they're going to be out this week. It is a whole system to try and explain, so they'd rather get a infographic to be a little more informative. Can we get the option to choose which music plays in our POH? They said they do really like the idea, and it's come up a few times before. Unfortunately, no new information on Group Ironman, although it gets asked pretty much every week. And last spear, could we get an item from the new spider boss that would stop our health from regenerating? They said this could be a big Nightmare Zone buff, so maybe not make it work there, but otherwise I don't really see the point, so there's not a huge amount of support. Anyway guys, that is it for the Q&A and it for the weekly recap. I hope you enjoyed. If you have anything you want to discuss, leave a comment down below, and if you did enjoy, I would appreciate it if you left a like. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you next time.